What's up, everybody? Lawler here. Going to be talking about the Fall North American Regional Event number 1. A lot of exciting moments and a lot of teams living up to the hype, some more than others. But man, if there's one thing to take away from this weekend, it is a lot of exciting teams that all have the capability to win it all. No more is the big 3, the big 4, although I expect to see them a lot. But we've got some massive depth in North America. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Lawler here. Going to be talking about Fall North American Regional Event 1. Going to be doing it in 2 parts. Going to talk about the Swish stage first, and then we'll get into the playoff day, which was actually Saturday and Sunday. But before we do that, let's talk about the actual format. For those that don't know, the regionals are in a 3-part process. There's the invitational qualifier, the closed qualifier, and then the main event. Invitational qualifier is 16 teams that get an invite. 8 that progress with 3 wins end up going into the main event. 8 with 3 losses end up going into the closed qualifier, where they run into another 8 teams that came from an actual open qualification bracket, double elimination, Swiss, etc. The 8 that made it out of the closed qualifier then ended up progressing and joining the other 8 original teams to the main event. Those 16 teams are FaZe, Energy, G2, Space Station, Envy, Ghost Gaming, Torrent, Charlotte Phoenix, True Neutral, Sonics, Team DVS, Integrity, Xset, Shopify Rebellion, Rogue, and Version 1. All 16 of these teams are then given seeds, and they play a Swiss-style format, where if you win, you are a 1-0 team, you play another 1-0 team. If you lose, 0-1 team plays 0-1 team, and you keep doing this until you are one of the 8 teams that has 3 wins, and if you receive 3 losses, you are eliminated, and you say goodbye. The 8 teams that end up progressing through the Swiss stage are Space Station Gaming, the General Energy, Xset, FaZe Clan, Envy, Version 1, G2, and True Neutral. For the most part, as expected, a couple things here and there that might be able to adjust, but ultimately, based upon the way that I'm looking at it, and I've said this in my tier list video, and if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I talked about it last week. There is about a handful or 2 of teams, roughly in the 6th to like 12 area, that are all able to compete. While I don't think they're going to always beat the guys up at the top, I do think they have chance for upset and top 8 possibilities. Some teams are going to be able to get into top 4 a little bit more frequently, but there is a large selection of depth in North America that all falls into, as long as you're consistent, are you going to be top 6, top 8, top 10, top 12? Where are you going to be depending on how you play that day? And it's led to some really exciting results. Couple teams to note: Space Station, NRG, Envy, pretty much picking up where they left off. Same with G2. You talk about Xset, formerly a team that you rarely saw in the brackets. Now with the addition of Percy coming over from Alpine, now Torrent, has been a massive change. This is a team that went from barely qualifying for some stuff to now being a serious contender in the top 6. You then talk about FaZe Clan, a team that struggled to break past the top 4, now arguably one of the best 3 in North America, with the addition of First Killer coming over from Rogue. Version 1, still going to game 5 and game 7 any chance they get. 20-some plus overtimes, and it is always heart-wrenching. It is a problem. I cast their broadcast for day 1, and I will be getting a heart rate monitor with an API so you can see just how old that team is making me based upon the stress levels I'm going through. You also then have True Neutral making it into the top 8, the very first regional. I didn't think it was going to happen initially, but True Neutral looking pretty dang good. This is the team that came from South America, moved to Mexico to give themselves a chance. And there's also been conversations of Moist Critical picking up True Neutral and buying the organization. More on that in a video in the future. Make sure you guys hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on it. We do, though, say goodbye to Ghost Gaming, Sonics, Torrent, Rogue, Charlotte Phoenix, Shopify Rebellion, which was a very big surprise, and I think they just had an off day, Integrity, and DVS, the 2 new additions that came from open qualifiers. In the first round, things going pretty much as expected. True Neutral putting up a really good fight against Ghost Gaming. Some big surprises with Rogue actually putting fights against Envy. They haven't been looking the greatest with Gyro, but still putting up a really good fight. In the second round, True Neutral winning over G2 was pretty exciting. Otherwise, Space Station getting a very hot hand and beating Envy, a team that normally brings it to 5 as well. You then see, other than that, things go as expected. I always talk, obviously, and try to be positive about V1, but there has been some consistency issues. And over the course of this past weekend, you are starting to see a normal V1 form The difficulty, though, is closing out series, and that's always been the conversation. But when they're playing well, they are playing extremely well and starting to get credit from some of the top dogs as well. Players in interviews talking about how V1 has the chance to make it to the grand finals as well, when in the past, most people would shrug them off. Shopify Rebellion, though, I will say, looking a little bit off just on this day. I do expect them to come back and look strong in the next regional in just a couple weeks. We then go into round 3. Energy beats True Neutral in 5, which was impressive. And then Space Station reminds Xset that, hey, we're still the top dogs. You got some learning to do. In the mid-round, things go as expected. And again, heartbreak for V1 fans as it goes to 5 against Envy. And they lose by 1 again. Torrent and Ghost. I do think Torrent is a very solid team and has been looking pretty dang solid with Kinsey as he brings much needed offense to the roster. And then in the low bracket, Rogue beats the newcomers DVS, and Shopify Rebellion regains and beats the newcomers Integrity. We then go to round 4, and Envy beats True Neutral, Xset over Torrent, and FaZe over G2. G2 and FaZe going to 5. Could have went both ways, but that FaZe team looking pretty dang good in game 5 where it wins 6-1. Way to close it out. We then go into the low side. V1 beats Rogue, Ghost Gaming beats Shopify Rebellion, and Sonics beats Charlotte Phoenix, as expected with the way things were going that day. Last but certainly not least, we get to round 5. G2 beats Ghost, True Neutral beats Sonics, and V1 beats Torrent. Exciting rivalry developing because both Torrent and V1 are 10 minutes away from each other. They're both located in Minnesota. Going to be a really fun rivalry to see how that expands and the content that comes around with it. There was some frustrations throughout the event as well, dealing with admins and certain changes and how seeding works, and I am here for everybody to explain how the seeding works in Swiss, because I too normally look at game differential, and that is not the case. It starts off in the first round. If you get a win, you go to the high side. If you lose, you go to the low side. And no matter what the results are, if you are a high team and you lose, you are then going to be 1-1, and you're going to play a low team that won, which will also be a 1-1. And that's how they clarify things. So if we look at round 2, True Neutral, Energy, SSG, and Xset will play each other. They are 2-0. They're playing each other. But G2, Torrent, Envy, and FaZe are now 1-1 and are dropping down, and they're going to meet Ghost Gaming, Charlotte Phoenix, Sonics, or V1. And those teams in some way will play each other, and they look at if they've played each other in the past already. They look at head-to-head. They look at game differential, and that is how they determine seeding, not by the overall bracket of seeding. They look at it based upon which part of the section you're on. Another way to look at that, you can look at, again, you look at the midsection in round 3. G2, FaZe, Envy, and Torrent are going to play someone in that group, as well as the losers from the high seed, which is True Neutral and Xset. So True Neutral, Xset, G2, FaZe, Envy, and Torrent, those 6 will have matches against each other. Sonics, Charlotte Phoenix, V1, and Ghost, who lost, will then play the winners from the low side, which is Rogue and Shopify Rebellion. Those 6 will find 3 matches between each other. And that keeps going on until you either have 3 wins or 3 losses, and hopefully that clarifies. A lot of people frustrated based upon the strength of schedule and some of the teams are playing. Version 1 talked about how frustrating it is knowing that they're playing FaZe, Shopify Rebellion, Envy, Ghost. Like, they're basically playing a lot of the high seeds. But again, that's the way that it goes based upon high, low, and the game differential. So again, win your matches. If you're going to 5 against a team and you're up 2-1, can't get reverse swept, you guys. That is going to make it difficult. After we get through all of that, we get through all the results, we then go into Saturday and Sunday, which are our playoffs, which simplifies it again. We go to a single elimination bracket. We've got Space Station versus True Neutral, FaZe versus Envy, Energy versus G2, and Xset versus V1. All matches very exciting. It starts with Xset and V1. V1 starts out very, very strong, but of course, difficulties closing it out, but they are able to clutch it in the end. Some very big moments from multiple different players, and they do end up winning in overtime. They progress to the next day on Sunday. We then go to Energy and G2, and Energy showcases that they are still one of the better teams in North America, but the addition of Dries has been a good one, and every single game in that series is an overtime. 10 seconds, 2:14, 29, 33, minute 49, and 17 seconds. G2 showcasing that, yes, Dries was a good addition. We're happy with our selection. We will remain competitive, and they do it here. The difference, though, is when you look at the other side of the brackets based upon seeding, Energy, G2, FaZe, Envy, Space Station, True Neutral. Many argue that 5 out of those 6 are the top 5 in the region, and 3 of them are not going to get points. Possibly. At least 2 are not going to get points for semifinals, which is a pretty big deal. So Energy does end up beating G2, every game being in overtime. FaZe and Envy go to the distance up to 7. An incredible series. All these matches were actually really, really good. And again, a lot of 1-goal differentials between and throughout this. Couple blips where either Envy's defense really outweighs FaZe's over aggression, or FaZe does start to give a little bit of space and bring out Envy. Again, really good chess matches. You are starting to see NA develop into a really competitive region where, depending on how people play on the day, truly is going to determine who wins. But we didn't really see any blowouts, which is really exciting. We then get into our last quarterfinals. Speaking of blowouts, and it is Space Station versus True Neutral. Yes, it is a 4-0 in favor of Space Station, but the score line 2-1, 2-1 OT, 1-0 OT, 2-1 OT. So True Neutral getting experience against the top dogs, 1-goal games in every single game. Just can't close out those games in those close moments. Credit to Space Station and their defense. Arsenal also looking pretty cracked. So True Neutral getting experience top 8, fall short, but 1-goal games in every single one. So they'll have to go back 2 weeks, next regional. Brings us to our semifinals. Space Station versus FaZe, Energy versus V1. And again, although it is 4-1 in favor of Energy, close series. 4-1 for Energy, but then it is 1-0, 3-2, both overtimes, 547 and 308 in games 2 and 3. And then it is 4-1, 3-2. So 3 of the 5 games are 1-goal games, but Energy, again, showcasing that although V1 wants to play fast and aggressive, you can sit very deep in your own territory. Garrett especially showcases how to counter this and brings the V1 offense up, counterattack, and then Justin and everybody else kind of makes way with it. So again, Energy seemingly always having an answer for V1, but a lot of kickoff goals being let in from both sides of the field. We then go to the other semifinal where it is Space Station versus FaZe, and another nail biter. 1-0 with an OT of 18 seconds, 4-1 for Space Station, 3-2 for FaZe, 3-2 OT, 329 for Space Station, 2-1, 3-2, 2-1. Another really close series, bunch of 1-goal games, both teams showcasing high-flying mechanics as well as ground game, as well as spacing and passing. These teams, everybody in conversation of this top 8, are very competitive until FaZe ends up winning in 7, and they bring us into our grand final. Difference with the grand final this time around in Swiss is that it is not a single elimination and just a best of 7. It is a best of set. Both teams have to win 2 best of 7s out of 3 in order to progress. Whether they do it 2-0 or 2-1 does not matter. Starts off with FaZe Clan against Energy, and they go up 4-1 with 3 more overtimes. Another close series. In game 4, a little bit of frustration comes out, leads to a bunch of drama. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's going to build a really exciting rivalry between Energy and FaZe potentially. Check out my video that came out yesterday. It'll have all the details you need to know. Don't need to get into it here for another long spiel. Either way, creates some motivation for the Energy team, and they bounce back immediately, neutralizing the series. They also win a best of 7 in 5. Another 3 overtimes, one of them exceeding 6 minutes. Really close series yet again. A lot of back and forth, a lot of exciting things. Justin looking like a Christmas present in the Merc with the pinstripe down the middle. Kind of silly to see, but he was actually peaking. He was looking pretty dang good. Eventually comes down to the third and final series, and it is Energy in favor at the beginning, but FaZe does bring it back and close it out. They end up going up 3-1. Thought Energy was going to be able to do it, but it ends up closing out for FaZe. Illusion, my MVP, looking absolutely stellar. Defense at times a little bit shaky from both ends, but overall, Illusion showcasing that he is just as valuable as First and AJ. Does a lot of things to make that team successful. Getting involved more and more on the offense. Ice in the veins with some of the shots, perfect top right. Also the ability to clutch it on goal line defense. So Illusion, my MVP for the first regional, but FaZe overall as a whole looking pretty dang good. First Killer purposely playing a little bit less selfish and allowing AJ to do, quote, whatever he wants on that final series. They win 4-2. So overall it was 5-5. That does make it 9-6 in favor of FaZe in the overall series. So really close and exciting 15 games. If I can do math right, 16 games. I can't math. It's been a long day. But 9-7 in favor of FaZe. Very close between them and Energy. And FaZe lives up to all the hype. On paper, we're all like, AJ and First, is there enough boost on the field? Is this going to be possible? They have definitely learned how to mesh together and figure each other out playstyles wise. and it's threatening. Whether it's nonstop solo plays, a pass here and there, Illusion moving up and making some shots, offense, defense, whatever it is. FaZe, true contender and a definite top 3 in North America, and arguably going to be kind of the team to beat if they're feeling good, because they're pretty nasty with it. Either way, that is your North American regional. In future videos, we're going to be covering Europe. Don't forget, Europe was also going on this week, and a bunch of the other regions I'm going to try to jam-pack together with results and keep you guys up to date on teams that you should be taking note of over in APAC and everything else. But if there's anything you guys want me to specifically cover about other regions, let me know in the comments down below. Links to everything I'm talking about in the description with the bracket in there as well. But that is going to do it for your Rocket League news recap on Fall North American Regional 1. Don't wait, though. In just 2 weeks, we got yet another one. Should be exciting. That's going to do it for me. Like the video, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. See you in the next one. Peace.